Okay, so now that I have Margaret at 5511, Cordoba is now expertise, and I have this gear on them and these armaments as well. I feel like I should share my experience on using a ranged march for the first time in KvK, and so that's what I'll do. So at first I struggled with moving around my range march and my front line marches at the same time, so like on times where our ball was getting pushed back, I found it difficult to retreat back, or it was difficult switching back and forth from each march, trying to get them to do different things on the field. Another thing that I did struggle with too was fat finger syndrome. I was pressing things that I probably wasn't supposed to and stuff like that, and it was a little bit annoying at first, but it honestly did not take that long to figure out, so that wasn't too much of a problem. Though, once I did figure it out and I learned more or less how to use ranged, it seemed like common sense afterwards. Like you start to understand, this is how far I should probably place this turret, or this certain situation doesn't look right for siege. I probably shouldn't be using this right here. Stuff like that. You get the hang of it and you learn what to do and when you can do it. But yeah, that's about it for mobility right now. I don't like the 10-second timer for ranged either. I feel like it takes way too long to set up or disassemble. Maybe 7 seconds would be healthy, but I don't know. I don't make those decisions. Next is the trades, which is probably the biggest thing people care about the most. The trades were amazing for me, I think. It definitely trades better than my Guan and Scipio pair, give it that I am in the back of the murder ball where it is safe and only taking counterattack damage, but hey, who's gonna stop me? There is a downside though, and that was that you probably can't use ranged in every situation, at least I don't think so. So like if you're in a situation where you don't stand a chance at the moment, let's say you muster up a murder ball, it gets obviously wrecked and pushed back fast, then you don't use ranged at that point because no one will protect you. Same goes for if your camp is the one pushing the enemy back pretty hard, then it can be really inconvenient to use ranged if you're constantly having to focus on it to keep setting it up as you push them back. But if you have a situation where the murder balls last a while because there's so many people fighting, which happens a lot, then that's when ranged comes in handy. Just keep in mind that even though I am having a great time with ranged and trading amazingly almost every time that I use them, not all ranged marches are built equally. I have pretty good equipment and Cordoba is expertise, so it's not like anyone can just use ranged and boom, you trade well because you're only taking counterattack. No, it doesn't work like that. If your gear and commanders are not up to standards, then you're just wasting resources on ranged. Yeah, it sounds like they're overpowered because they kinda are, but you have to actually invest into it to make it worth it. If you half-ass it, you're gonna get half-ass results. I'm in the position to where I can let my army attack anyone without caring much about the health of my march or theirs because I know I'm gonna trade positive anyways. If you only trade well when you're hitting AoE, then you're wasting that little effort that you've put in. But yeah, if you expertise Cordoba and have some tanky gear, you should be good. Just have a decent pair for him. And don't be afraid of attack stats either. If you're only taking counterattack damage, then outputting damage should be your main focus, but just keep in mind that Margaret and Cordoba are very squishy together, so a decent amount of defensive stats will help them out a lot. Kinda confusing, I get that, whatever. Anyways, there are a lot of other benefits to using ranged. Like, you know when you have a murder ball building up and the enemy has little peons trying to pick at your players to break your formation and lead them out, and every KvK people fall for it, and then it's a snowball effect and it causes chaos all over? Well, with range you can prevent that from happening because every time before they get within poking distance, your range march will be shooting at them and they will just be feeding you and wasting their resources. You can also harass players that are trying a cheeseburger. Every time the enemy pops out of a city to attack, your range march is already attacking them a second after that they come out of that city, and even though you may not hit your active skill, you're always trading positive for those few seconds. You can also push the enemy murder balls back sometimes before the fighting begins, because if the enemy isn't given the command to attack, then most of the time they won't, they just wait there. So you can use your circular AoE from Cordoba on them and they will start moving back to avoid it, and then you slowly push up, assuming that you have your people right there too, preventing the enemy from beating you up. Just random stuff like that. I hate to sound like that guy, but it really is a new strategic way to play if you can just understand how to use it, but I do get that it's not for everyone. By the way, I will say that because you are a range march being obnoxious to the enemy, that your name will be remembered and so will that range march. So if the enemy sees an opportunity, they will hunt you down and that range march if they think that they can. It can be an easy way to bait them out, or it can be easy KP for them if you don't do it right. But yeah, I think that's it for now. Let's see how it goes in the Altar of Darkness. Later.